1987 සිට නව්‍යකරණයෙන් ශ්‍රී ලාංකේය බැංකු ක්ෂේත්‍රයේ පෙරලියක් සිදු කළ අභිමානවත් 30 වසරක සැමරුම සම්පත් බැංකුව හෙට දින එළිය කරයි.
Tonight on News at 9, UN Vesak Day. Much venerated ceremony got underway at the BMICH under the auspices of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
First at 9. This is Derana 24/7.
Also in headlines, visiting Norwood, Indian Prime Minister pledges 10,000 houses for the estate sector and promises to expand the ambulance service island-wide. A special meeting, visiting Indian Prime Minister meets with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Drug bust, 90 million worth heroin found floating off Jaffna seas. And Geeta's seat, Election Commission unanimously decides to refrain from filling Geeta Kumarasinghe's parliament seat. Good evening, Mahesh Johnny with Derana 24/7. The 14th United Nations Day of Vesak Conference and Celebrations 2017 officially commenced this morning, and that is where we begin our broadcast tonight. The UN Vesak Day took place with the participation of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking at the main inauguration ceremony in Colombo, the Indian Prime Minister said India will continue to invest in driving positive change and economic growth to deepen development cooperation with Sri Lanka, while expressing hope to uphold the ideals of Lord Buddha together. Derana's Manusha Jayathilaka has more on how the commencement of the Vesak Day celebrations was carried out today.
Late Foreign Minister Lakshman Khadir-Gamar, who took the initiative to establish the United Nations Vesak Day. And since 2004, Vietnam and Thailand took turns to host the United Nations Vesak Day celebrations in their countries. And after many years, this is the first time Sri Lanka is privileged to host the event here at home.
Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi graced the UN Day of Vesak Buddhist Conference and celebrations at the BMICH as the chief guest. The visiting Premier was joined by President Maithripala Sirisena, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Speaker of the Parliament Karu Jayasuriya, as well as other local and foreign diplomats and dignitaries.
Karu Ranil Wickremesinghe මැතිතුමා සහ බුදු ශාසන අමාත්‍යතුමා විසින් පිළිගන්නවා. ලෝක සාමය
Republic of India, Honorable Narendra Modi, and he was welcomed by Honorable Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Honorable Ranil.
Members of the Buddhist clergy and other representatives of 80 nations participated in the main event. Members of clergy from other religions, including Christianity, Hinduism and Islam, were also present at the ceremony today. Former Presidents Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga and Mahinda Rajapaksa also participated in the event. Minister of Justice and Buddha Sasana, Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksha, then made the welcome speech.
I should like to emphasize that there exists a Buddhist triangle consisting of Nepal, India and Sri Lanka. These three countries, with the blessing of the Buddha, inherited Buddhist values and culture. This series of events is all the more significant as the heads of state of all those three countries are gracing it. Your Excellency Narendra Modi, for us in Sri Lanka, you are one of ours.
Hosting the UN Vesak celebrations here in Sri Lanka has given the Mahasangha, government and public so much happiness.
Fortunately, Thailand is the location of one of the largest UN regional offices in Asia and the Pacific. That's why Thailand has been hosting the Vesak celebration for 13 years, except twice in Vietnam. Here we come together and celebrate the 14th UN Day of Vesak in Sri Lanka.
Addressing delegates, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe focused on sustainable peace.
During the lifetime of Gautama Buddha and the centuries thereafter, no ruler, no king, no state had the capacity to destroy the whole world. But today, the global arms build-up have led to arsenals, including weapons of mass destruction. These are available to a few countries, but very soon may be in the hands of non-state actors.
With the influence of Buddhism, India and Sri Lanka have been sharing a deep friendship since the ancient times. The Indian Prime Minister, who is the state leader of the nation where Lord Buddha was born, attained Mahaparinibbana and passed away, is here to give us that Vesak message today. This International Vesak Day celebrations are important not only to us but to the entire world as well. It is important for Buddhists as well as people of other religions.
Chief guest of the inauguration ceremony, Indian Premier Narendra Modi then addressed the event.
And I am most grateful to Excellency President Maithripal Sirisena, Excellency Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and the people of Sri Lanka for extending to me the honor to be the chief guest at the International Vesak Day Festival in Colombo. As close neighbors, our relationship spreads across many layers. It draws strength as much through our interconnected values of Buddhism as it does from the limitless possibilities of our shared future. Ours is a friendship that lies in the hearts of our people and in the fabric of our society. I believe we are a moment of a great opportunity to achieve a quantum jump in our partnership across different fields. And for us, the most relevant benchmark for the success of our friendship is your progress and your success.
During his speech, the Indian Premier revealed the decision to operate direct flights between Colombo and Varanasi from August this year. Subsequently, he spoke of the development cooperation between India and Sri Lanka.
Today, India's development cooperation with Sri Lanka amounts to $2.6 billion. Its only aim is to support Sri Lanka in realizing a peaceful, prosperous and secure future of its people. The biggest challenge to sustainable world peace today may not be from conflict between the nation states. It is from the mindset and instrument rooted in the idea of hate and violence. Buddhism's message of peace is the answer to growing arc of violence all over the world. My hope is that India and Sri Lanka will work together to uphold the ideals of Lord Buddha and promote values of peace, accommodation, inclusiveness and compassion in the policies and conduct of our governments.
Now, most of us already know the man behind the declaration of UN Vesak Day was our late Foreign Minister Lakshman Khadiragamer. Not everyone, however, knows the efforts taken by the former Foreign Minister to make this particular day a reality. We looked into the journey which resulted in the declaration of the day, which eventually led to Sri Lanka hosting the UN Vesak celebrations this year.
Vesak, the day of the full moon in the month of May, is the most sacred day to millions of Buddhists around the world. It, however, was not internationally prominent until the late Minister of Foreign Affairs, Lakshman Khadirgamer, tabled a proposal at the United Nations General Assembly on the 23rd of September 1999, requesting the adoption of the Vesak Day. At the 79th plenary meeting on 15th of December 1999, the resolution was discussed and sponsored by 34 countries. Late Foreign Affairs Minister Lakshman Khadirgamer, a born Tamil Christian of the nation, portrayed his great talents at diplomacy in getting the support of the Christian, Islamic as well as Hindu nations to support the Vesak Day resolution at the UN. As a result, the Vesak Day resolution was adopted on the 15th of December 1999 and implemented for the first time in year 2000 at the United Nations headquarters in New York. The UN acknowledged Buddhism to be one of the oldest religions in the world, which had contributed to the spirituality of humanity over 2.5 millennia and continues to do so. In 2004, the first UN International Vesak Day celebration was held in Thailand. In accordance with a special request made during the UN Vesak Day celebrations in Thailand last year by Minister of Justice and Buddhasasana, Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, Sri Lanka received the opportunity to host the event. Championing the theme Buddhist Teachings for Social Justice and Sustainable World Peace, Sri Lanka went on to host the 2017 UN International Day of Vesak.
Following his visit to Hatton, Indian Premier Narendra Modi visited Kandy late this afternoon, where he paid homage to the temple of the Sacred Tooth relic. That story is coming up, but before that, Indian Prime Minister addressing the public meeting held at Norwood Grounds in Hatton today stated that the Indian government and the people of India will continue working with Sri Lanka towards peace and greater prosperity of the country and help overcome challenges. Prior to his address, the Indian Premier vested in the public the Dikkoya Base Hospital.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled the Dikkoya Base Hospital in Hatton, funded by India at a cost of 1.2 billion rupees. The three-storied hospital building comprises a 150-bed ward complex, medical equipment unit, outpatients department, specialist centre, an intensive care unit, a maternity ward, emergency treatment unit, labour room and 2 operation theatres. A blood bank, firefighting equipment, 2 official residential buildings and other facilities are also included in the base hospital.
Buddhism to Sri Lanka. Going to be a historic visit, which is of course an appreciation of the, and we have Sri Lanka being
I would like to say that Indian people have contributed immensely to develop the plantation industry. They helped to secure the unity of the country with us. Therefore, Sinhala, Tamil and Muslim as well as everybody else are brothers and we are children of one mother. These people had no right to land when contributing to strengthen the economy. We have taken measures to provide the estate community with a 7-perch plot of land each, and we will expedite all relevant measures within the next 2 years. Prime Minister Modi, we hope you will pay your attention to this matter. We were born from one cultural heritage. We lived together. We should work closely in the future as well.
මා විශේෂයෙන් ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා හැටන් දික්කයට පැමිණලා මේ රෝහල විවෘත කිරීමට එතුමා පැමිණලා මේ ජනතාව හමුවට පැමිණීම ගැන.
I'm grateful for him for coming here and opening the Dikkoya Hospital in Hatton and speaking to the public. In 2011, when I was Health Minister, we laid the foundation stone for the project with the then Health Minister of India. At that time, I wished for the construction work of the hospital to finish soon so we could provide a better service to the people. At that time, I never thought that we could invite the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and I never thought that I would be able to unveil this as the President. The long-standing Indo-Sri Lanka friendship intertwined with the Buddhist philosophy is recorded in history. People with Indian descent had many political issues regarding Sri Lankan citizenship. I can happily announce that you are all citizens of Sri Lanka. I would also like to mention that when the issue of citizenship arose in the 1960s, Prime Minister Sirimavo Bandaranaike and the Prime Minister of India at the time, Lal Bahadur Shastri, discussed and solved the matter. Their relevant agreement is known as the Sirima Shastri Agreement. We know it is important to establish national unity in the country. You know that the main objective of the current government is to establish peace and strengthen reconciliation. There are various issues faced by the estate community. As a government, we believe we are in the process of establishing social justice for Sinhala and Tamil communities and the northern people as well as the upcountry plantation community.
සමාජ සාධාරණත්වයේ තුල විසඳිය යුතු කියන එක අපි ආණ්ඩුවක් විදියට පිළි අරගෙන කටයුතු කරගෙන යනවා.
சகோதரிகளே வணக்கம். I'm delighted to meet you all. Sri Lanka today is the 3rd largest exporter of tea. It is because of your hard work. It is your labor of love which is instrumental in Sri Lanka meeting almost 17% of the world's demand for tea and earning more than 1.5 billion US dollars in foreign exchange. You are that indispensable backbone of the thriving Sri Lankan tea industry that justified, prides itself on its success and global reach today. Your generation also faces relentless hardship. We will never forget leaders like Soumya Murthy, Thondaman, who worked hard for your rights, for your upliftment and economic prosperity. And language is much more than a tool for communication. It defines a culture, forges relationships, joins communities and acts as a strong unifying force. Your progress is our pride. We rejoice in the success of the Indian origin diaspora as they leave a mark across the world. I am also pleased to announce that we have decided to extend the 1990 emergency ambulance service currently in operation in western and southern provinces to all the other provinces as well. To continue our commitment in this area, I am delighted to announce the construction of an additional 10,000 houses in upcountry areas under this project as well. Nandre, thank you very much.
ஜனாதிபதி எங்களுடைய பிரதமர் மற்றும் முக்கியஸ்தர்கள் இங்கிருந்து செல்லுகின்ற வரையிலும் அந்த இடத்தை விட்டு உங்கள் இருக்கின்ற இடத்திலே இருக்க வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டுக்கொள்கின்றேன்.
More on the Premier's visit. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Kandy late this afternoon. There he paid homage to the temple of the sacred tooth relic.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived at the temple of the sacred tooth relic in Kandy, accompanied by President Maithripala Sirisena, and was welcomed by Diwaran Nilame Pradeep Nilanga Dalabandara. The Indian Premier, along with President Sirisena, paid homage to the sacred tooth relic.
Welcome back, everyone. Upon his arrival in the country last evening, President Maithripala Sirisena hosted the visiting Indian Prime Minister to a dinner in his honour. The event at the President's house was attended by several government officials and dignitaries.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was received by President Maithripala Sirisena at the President's house. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Speaker of Parliament Karujaya Surya, Minister of Foreign Affairs Mangala Samarawira, Leader of the Opposition R. Sampanthan, Chief Minister of the Northern Province C.V. Vigneswaran, and a group of ministers graced the occasion. Meanwhile, during a late-night media briefing convened in Colombo, Indian officials said discussions that ensued with President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe focused on several aspects of bilateral cooperation.
The visit is in the context of the International Vesak Day, but at the same time, there are no MOUs or agreements, no documents which are to be signed, but of course, he has already had discussions with the Sri Lankan leadership. There are several areas which were touched upon during the discussions, particularly the focus on Buddhism, the promotion of tourism, Buddhist circuit and the connectivity between our two countries. And also the President of Sri Lanka mentioned about Bay of Bengal cooperation, which Prime Minister welcomed. Also space cooperation also figured in. Prime Minister also assured whenever we talk about participating in projects in Sri Lanka, it is also for the development of Sri Lanka. This is what the Prime Minister underlined in his discussions.
A hastily arranged meeting between the visiting Indian Prime Minister and Sri Lanka's former President Mahinda Rajapaksa late last evening stirred speculation within Sri Lanka. Prior to his arrival in Sri Lanka, much allegations were levelled, especially by members of the Parliament from the joint opposition, that the Indian Prime Minister would enter into pacts with Sri Lanka during the visit. Indian officials continue to maintain that Narendra Modi's visit was purely religious and had no economical or political objective. The Indian High Commissioner Tharanjit Singh Sandhu mentioned earlier that Narendra Modi may, if at all, meet only the opposition leader R. Sampanthan apart from meeting President Maithripala Sirisena. However, during the late night media briefing, Tharanjit Singh Sandhu disclosed the meeting with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Following the dinner hosted by President Maithripala Sirisena, the prolonged meeting between former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at India House in Colombo had lasted over an hour, delaying the media briefing arranged for 10:45 p.m. The sudden meeting was also attended by former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the former Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Pires, the Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, the National Security Advisor of India and other dignitaries. Later at a media briefing, Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Taranjit Singh Sandhu, spoke about the meeting.
The Prime Minister received former President of Sri Lanka, Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa, at his request. Ma'am, as a democratic country, whenever Sri Lankan leaders go to India and whenever Indian leaders come to Sri Lanka, we always respond to requests for meetings. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa requested for a call on our Prime Minister, and Prime Minister kindly agreed.
Any topics came under discussion during the meeting?
It was a very cordial discussion. Former President was very happy about the development cooperation which India has been extending to Sri Lanka over the years, including at present.
Concluding his two-day visit to Sri Lanka, Indian Premier Narendra Modi departed from the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katnaika this evening. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and several other politicians were present at the airport along with Indian expats to witness Premier Modi's departure.
Sri Lanka. This is the second visit of Premier Modi and it is quite successful. He participated as the chief guest of the 14th United Nations International Vesak Festival.
A section of a wall at Dunbar Stadium in the Norwood area collapsed when two helicopters carrying the Indian delegation landed in the vicinity this afternoon. 5 houses in the area were damaged and residents suffered injuries as a result of the wall's collapse.
The strong movement of air created by the rotors of the 2 helicopters carrying the Indian delegation had triggered the collapse at Dunbar Stadium in Hatton, damaging 5 houses.
මං කුසිය පැත්තේ උයෝ හිටියේ දුව මෙතන රෙදි අරගෙන හිටියා දැන් මම කඩම් වැටලා දුවගේ ඔළුව ඔක්කොම තුවාලයි දුව ඉස්පිරිතාලේ ගෙනිච්චා ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ඉති ඔක්කොම කැඩුනේ කැඩිලා මුළු ගෙහෙම හෙල්ලිලා තියෙන්නේ දැන් මම බේරගත්ත ළමයි 3 දෙනාව නැත්තම් අද අපේ ගෙදර මරණ 4යි මම බේරගත්තේ මට සල්ලි නන්න එපා මට සල්ලි එපා මුළු ගෙහෙම එල්ලුණා ෆ්ලයිට් වන්දිච්ච ෆ්ලයිට් වන්දනද එලා කඩපඩට උඩ
A stay order was issued by the Supreme Court today on the Court of Appeal ruling disqualifying Geetha Kumarasinghe from holding a seat in Parliament due to her dual citizenship. The Supreme Court suspended the Court of Appeal verdict following an appeal filed by Geetha Kumarasinghe. Meanwhile, the Election Commission unanimously decided not to fill the vacancy left by parliamentarian Geetha Kumarasinghe until the Supreme Court verdict is announced.
On the 3rd of May, the Court of Appeal issued an order disqualifying UPFA parliamentarian Geetha Kumarasinghe from holding a seat in Parliament due to her Sri Lankan and Swiss dual citizenship. As per the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, dual citizenship holders cannot be elected to Parliament. Following the appeal court verdict, the General Secretary of Parliament was directed by the Attorney General to enforce the order. The General Secretary of Parliament then gave written notification to the Chairman of the Election Commission informing him of the vacant seat. Subsequently, Geetha Kumarasinghe filed an appeal at the Supreme Court challenging the decision to revoke her position in Parliament. When the appeal was taken up before a 3-member judge bench today, including Supreme Court Judge Buaneka Aluihare, Geetha Kumarasinghe's counsel argued that filling the vacant seat left by her would render the filed appeal redundant. The order will be in effect until the 15th of this month.
We have faith in the Supreme Court ruling. We believe that the same will take place in the future. We are very relieved.
In one of our headline stories, a parcel containing 9.3 kilograms of heroin found floating off the coast of Kankasanthore, Jaffna, has been seized by the Sri Lankan Navy today. The stock is believed to be worth around 90 million rupees. The discovery follows the seizure of approximately 200 kilograms of heroin and the arrest of a racketeer along with a defender yesterday in Chilao. Welcome back, everyone. Last night's IPL action lit up the Wankhede Stadium, with Mumbai Indians coming agonizingly close to chasing down Kings 11 Punjab's mammoth 230-run total.
The Kings 11 were put in by Mumbai and attacked right from the off. Martin Guptill scored 36 off 18 and Glenn Maxwell went harder still with 47 off 21. Riddhiman Saha top scored with 93 off 55 as Kings 11 set Mumbai an imposing 231 to win. The Mumbai Indians had to score fast and did. Lendl Simmons was the pick of the batsman for Mumbai with 59 and Kieran Pollard cleared the ropes 5 times in his 24-ball half-century. Despite conceding 57 in his 4 overs, Mohit Sharma bowled 5 Yorkers in the game's last over, conceding only 2 runs off those as the Kings 11 picked up a 7-run win.
Welcome back, everyone. On to international news. In the aftermath of firing FBI Director James Comey, a decision pinned on recommendations by the Attorney General's Department, U.S. President Donald Trump continued to attack Comey in an interview given to NBC News. Trump called Comey a showboat and a grandstander and told NBC that he would have fired the FBI Director regardless of any recommendations made.
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander. The FBI has been in turmoil. You know that.
Trump confirmed that a recommendation to terminate James Comey had come from Jeff Sessions' deputy, Rod Rosenstein.
But regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire.
The U.S. president was also at pains to make the distinction between himself and his campaign when the topic of the investigation into Russian links was broached.
I know that I'm not under investigation.
However, heads of the Senate Intelligence Committee vowed that the investigation into the Trump campaign's alleged Russian links would continue.
Regardless of what happens by the Justice Department or by the FBI, that the investigation will continue on its current course as aggressively as we're able to.
I'm offended at the President's comments today. This is a continuing pattern of disrespecting the men and women who serve in our intelligence community.
Well, that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. English news at 9 will return tomorrow within the Variamuatha. Make sure to join us then. I'm Mahesh Johnny. And before we go, we like to take you to the ancient Buddhist temple of Borobudur, Indonesia, to share in their own celebration of Vesak. Borobudur, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is the largest Buddhist temple in the world. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.